ever looked at someone who's made this incredible physical transformation or hit some like seemingly impossible fitness goal and just thought, how did they actually do that? What if there was a guide saying you could get, well, almost superhuman results without basically living in the gym or giving up everything fun? Today we're tackling Timothy Ferriss's often controversial, definitely thought-provoking book, The 4-Hour Body, an uncommon guide to rapid fat loss, incredible sex, and becoming superhuman. So let's get into this. Ferriss makes it really clear up front he's not the expert, right? He says, I'm the guide and explorer. He treats his own body like a laboratory of one. We're talking hundreds of thousands spent on tests, tweaks, experiments, even importing stem cell growth factors. This book, it's less a set of rules and more a manifesto for what he calls the experimental lifestyle.
Exactly. And that core idea, it's built on the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law, which for this stuff means focusing on the minimal effective dose, or MED. So the smallest input you need for the biggest possible result. Ferriss basically claims he's giving you the most important 2.5% of the tools for really significant changes, which, raises a big question. Can you really get these huge results by focusing on just a few things? He encourages skepticism, definitely, but he also says don't use skepticism as an excuse for inaction. It's more about finding ideas that are worth disproving through your own experiments.
Okay, so our mission for you today is to pull out the most, let's say, surprising and useful nuggets from this massive book. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding his main ideas on changing your body, performing better, overall well-being. We'll touch on losing fat, gaining muscle, improving intimacy, sleep, fixing injuries, even boosting endurance and learning new skills, all through this experimental lens. So diving in deeper, let's start with that foundation. This laboratory of one idea. Ferriss took over 1,000 blood tests since 2004, sometimes every 2 weeks, and recorded nearly every workout since he was 18. This isn't just some theory he read about. It's deeply personal, intense experimentation. He's the guinea pig.
Right, and the real takeaway there is empowerment. It backs up his rule, don't assume something is true just because I say it is. The core message is that you can figure out the key scientific rules for changing your own body. It also pushes you to ditch vague words like healthy or optimal, unless you can actually measure them against a specific goal. That saying, what gets measured gets managed, that's really central to the whole book.
Okay, so with that experimental mindset set up, where does he apply it first? For a lot of people, it's body fat. Let's get into subtracting fat, probably one of the most famous parts with the slow carb diet.
Yeah.
He claims it's for rapid fat loss, like 20 pounds in 30 days, maybe without even exercising. That's a huge claim, draws a lot of skepticism. How does he explain that?
It is a bold claim, yeah. The diet itself has 5 pretty simple rules, though they can feel restrictive. First, avoid white carbs. So anything white or labeled enriched, forget it for fat loss. The idea is these refined carbs hit your bloodstream fast, spike insulin, and tell your body to store fat. Second, eat the same few meals repeatedly. Keep it simple. Mix and match from lists of proteins, legumes, and veggies.
Like egg whites, chicken, beef, fish, pork, lentils, black beans, pinto beans, spinach, broccoli, green beans, that sort of thing.
Exactly. And you can eat as much as you want from those approved lists.
Okay. Rule 3. Don't drink your calories. Stick to water, unsweetened tea, or coffee. And surprisingly, he says up to 2 glasses of dry red wine a night is okay.
Yeah, that one surprises people. Rule 4 is don't eat fruit. His argument is that fructose, the sugar in fruit, gets converted to fat storage pretty efficiently by the liver. Tomatoes and a bit of avocado are the exceptions.
And then the 5th rule, the one everyone talks about, take 1 day off per week, the Dieter's Gone Wild day.
Yes. That cheat day is actually really important in his system. It's not just for, sanity. Ferriss argues it strategically resets your metabolism and hormones, like leptin, which controls hunger and energy. It stops your body from adapting too much to the diet and hitting a plateau. Kind of tricks it into keep burning fat and help stop crazy cravings. But he's honest. This diet works, but it's maybe not the most fun, especially at the start.
He also points out common mistakes, right? Like skipping breakfast. He suggests getting 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. Says it kickstarts your metabolism, cuts down cravings later, and not eating enough protein, generally aim for 20 grams per meal minimum.
And that leads to a really interesting point he makes, citing an old study by Keckwick and Pawan. It suggests different calorie sources cause different weight changes, challenging that whole a calorie is just a calorie idea. The study basically found that 1,000 calories from mostly fat led to significant weight loss. Mostly protein led to loss too, but mostly carbs led to weight gain. It suggests the type of calorie matters metabolically, not just the total number.
And for those cheat days, he talks about damage control too, ways to limit the insulin spike, eating protein and fiber before you binge, small doses of fructose, even these Page supplements.
Yeah, policosanol, alpha-lipoic acid, green tea extract, garlic, designed to help with fat loss and blood sugar. And building on manipulating variables, he even brings in the Ice Age concept, using cold for weight loss. Cites Ray Cronies, who apparently lost a lot of fat this way. The idea is cold activates brown adipose tissue, which burns fat and sugar for heat. Even short cold exposures, like a cool bath, might boost hormones like adiponectin, improve glucose uptake, immunity, maybe even help with depression, leveraging the body's reaction to cold.
Okay, shifting gears to adding muscle. The book has some surprisingly efficient methods here too, like building the perfect posterior using just the kettlebell swing, a single exercise, high reps. He claims he can make big changes, even fix posture issues like that forward slouch, kyphosis. He used it himself to hit his lowest body fat with minimal weekly time.
And for abs, his 6-minute abs focuses on two specific moves, the myotatic crunch and the cat vomit exercise. The myotatic crunch uses a pre-stretch for better muscle activation, and the cat vomit is about core bracing. But he stresses, visible abs mostly mean low body fat, like under 12%. He's not a fan of traditional crunches, calls them ineffective, suggests timed planks for women who want to keep an hourglass figure, avoid blocky obliques.
Now, this next bit always gets people talking and maybe raises some eyebrows. Ferriss highlights the story of Casey Viator, who supposedly gained 34 pounds of muscle in just 28 days, and he'd do it with only 3 short workouts a week. That just flies in the face of needing to live in the gym for big gains. How's that supposed to work?
Right, it sounds almost unbelievable. He explains it using Occam's protocol. It's super minimalist muscle building. We're talking less than 30 minutes in the gym per week. You alternate 2 workouts, A and B. And here's the key. You only do 1 set to failure for each exercise, but with a really slow tempo, 5 seconds up, 5 seconds down. The intensity of that single slow set is meant to maximize muscle recruitment and force adaptation much faster than typical volume training. It's pure MED principle. Of course, this assumes you're eating enough calories to support that growth. He even mentions extreme stuff like a gallon of milk a day for some hard gainers, plus supplements like L-glutamine and creatine.
Okay, let's move into one of the book's more intriguing sections, improving sex. He talks about the 15-minute female orgasm. And one surprising point he makes is that women need to be comfortable with masturbation first. Then he introduces the doing method. It focuses on light contact, no specific goal for 15 minutes, maybe using a blindfold and asking direct questions like more left or right. The whole idea seems to be shifting focus from performance pressure to just sensation.
Then switching to male performance, describes Ferriss's own experiments trying to triple his testosterone and double his sperm count. One really shocking finding he shares was about cell phones and sperm motility. He saw a huge improvement in his own count just by taking his phone out of his pocket.
Wow.
Yeah, it highlights how small environmental things can have big biological effects. He details specific protocols too, cholesterol loading, Brazil nuts for selenium, raw almonds for vitamin E.
He also mentions pelvic floor health briefly, suggesting things like the Lila Luna Balls system for strengthening the PC muscle. Just a few minutes, a few times a week. All right, let's cover optimizing the rest, starting with perfecting sleep. Ferriss found his sleep quality depended most on the ratio of REM sleep to total sleep. He found he could actually boost REM by waking up briefly, like 5-10 minutes, about 4.5 hours after falling asleep. Also notes alcohol kills deep wave sleep. Suggests the pre-bed snack, like almond butter on celery, to keep blood sugar stable, and even recommends a cold bath an hour before bed as a way to help fall asleep faster. Kind of counterintuitive, maybe.
Definitely. Then for reversing permanent injuries, he highlights a few techniques. Out of 5 he covers. Things like muscle activation techniques, MD, which focuses on finding and reactivating muscles that aren't firing properly, and active release technique, ART, for breaking up scar tissue and adhesions that cause pain and limit movement. He also talks about medical tourism, like getting multiple MRIs affordably in Nicaragua, just showing ways to find solutions outside the usual expensive systems.
Ultra endurance is another surprising one. He features Brian McKenzie's approach. McKenzie argues less training can lead to better results, challenging the high-volume norm in endurance sports. The focus shifts to things like intense 400-meter repeats. He also mentions running form, specifically cautioning around the pose method.
Right, which emphasizes falling forward and quick foot lifts. And wrapping this section up, he touches on skill acquisition. Uses examples like total immersion swimming, focusing on body roll and position, not just pulling and kicking, efficiency over force. Even David Blaine's extreme breath-holding training is used as an example of how powerful structured methods can be for learning skills fast.
Okay, finally, let's zoom out to the bigger picture: longevity and, maybe most importantly, how to spot bad science.
Hmm.
In the Living Forever chapter, he gets into that quantity versus quality of life debate, using an analogy about calorie-restricted monkeys versus fed ones. Introduces interesting ideas like protein cycling, restricting protein 1 day a week to trigger autophagy, your body's cellular cleanup process, and even the idea of bloodletting, or basically donating blood regularly, as a way to manage excess iron levels for longevity.
Yeah, the excess iron point is interesting. High iron can cause oxidative stress over time. So regular blood donation, which lowers iron,
Hmm.
is being looked at, which leads nicely into maybe one of the most critical skills the book tries to teach: how to spot bad science. Super important with all the info flying around. Ferriss lists some cardinal sins. First, don't trust percentages alone. A 20% increase sounds great, but 20% of what? If the starting number is tiny, it doesn't mean much.
That's a really good point. What else should we watch out for?
Second, be really wary of observational studies claiming cause and effect. They can suggest links, but they don't prove one thing caused another. He uses that funny example of pirates declining as global temperatures rose. They correlate, but pirates didn't cause climate change, right?
Right, correlation isn't causation. Got it.
Third, be skeptical of studies based on self-reporting, like food diaries. People are notoriously bad at estimating accurately, often underreporting by 20–30%. Fourth, ask if all the variables were really controlled when comparing diets. Were calories, protein, carbs truly isolated? Or was something else different between the groups? And fifth, always consider vested interests. Who funded the study? Do they benefit from a certain outcome? He mentions examples like food companies funding nutrition research. It doesn't automatically mean the science is bad, but it's a critical thinking tool you need. It's about evaluating information, not taking sides.
It's really clear the 4 Hour Body isn't just another diet or workout plan. It's more like a manifesto for living experimentally, empowering you to figure out your own body by challenging assumptions, measuring things, and finding what actually works for you.
Absolutely. And the bigger idea is you can probably apply that same approach, rigorous, data-driven, minimalist, to other parts of your life, not just fitness.
So, what does this all mean for you listening? If you can treat your body like a laboratory of one, what other areas could benefit from that approach? Your career, relationships, hobbies. What assumptions are you holding about what you can or can't do that are just maybe waiting to be tested and disproven?